Kellen, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. You talked all off season about wanting to improve in the run. One, how much have you improved over these first 3 games in the run? And 2, when you lose a player like that, when you know you're going to emphasize a part of your offense anyway, does it help everyone just to focus and say, hey, this is really, we've really got to emphasize this now and get to where we want to go?
Well, I think certainly with the run game, time on task is huge for anyone, and so certainly for the O-line, those guys spending more and more time together, being together, it was kind of shuffling the deck there late in training camp, and so I think those guys have certainly become more comfortable with it, and in general, I think as the season progresses, usually run games get a little bit better as they go. And I think our guys have done a nice job of kind of finding their groove, and certainly it's something we want to utilize. The first game kind of got a little goofy. We weren't able to do as much as we could, and looking back on it, you certainly would like to, but it's certainly a big piece of us.
It seemed like you, Clarence, before we start telegram, it seemed like you got in the groove immediately when Jason Peters came on the field, and certainly broke out the big run. And what did he mean for the run game, and how did you keep him out the field in the second half?
No, Jason's done an awesome job coming in here and really showing up week 1 and just getting into all the football aspects of it, just going through the process of, the training and practices and a new system. And so he's done an awesome job for us. He's a tremendous leader. You can't think of a better person to be in that room with some of those younger guys. And so he's so valuable to us. He's awesome. It was awesome to get him in there for a couple series, and he'll just continue to keep growing and evolving in his role.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. What's been a big difference for you from week 1 to these last 2 weeks in terms of what you've been able to do, play calling, and those kinds of things?
I'd say certainly we've been able to stay on track a little bit better. The first game, I can't remember how many, we lived in second and long forever, and it's hard to, and then didn't convert third downs. And so certainly you're able to play with more balance when you're into manageable situations on first and second down, and the third downs are manageable, and you can play that game that way. And so I think our guys have done a really nice job of just staying with it. The first half we missed a couple opportunities, and so you don't have the points on the board you'd like to, but our guys just kind of kept sticking with the process and found their way at the end.
You see CD go through his issues. How much do you pull him aside and say, you're okay, you're going to get the ball?
It's a really awesome moment, I think, for us to just see his growth go through that. He missed a couple ops. They're right there and they're close, and so for him to be able to just keep playing within the game, keep getting more opportunities, and then make a couple of those big plays at the end, I think it's a huge growth for him.
Michael Gilligan, Dallas Morning News. Can you walk us through your impressions of that 3rd and 12 conversion on the run, be it the check itself, or up against that look, or Tyler Smith in the open field, or there's a lot to kind of deconstruct?
It was in our toolbox. They obviously give you a ton of different looks on third downs. That's what Wink does a tremendous job of. It's really challenging through the week of just game planning and trying to sort out the protection. So we wanted to have something in our toolbox that if we wanted to go to it, Coop had the ability to, and he saw the look that presented itself. We went to it. It's a little bit of a boom or bust type call. I mean, it can go for -3, and you feel pretty dumb, but it also has that opportunity if you can get it. I thought the receivers and the tight ends did an awesome job. CD had a huge block. The nickel was blitzing. He was able to block him, and then Tyler, really had all the space to kind of close space. He had a awesome block down the line on the safety, and then Zeke obviously took care of the rest. But it was a big play for us, I think.
Tyler blocked 3 guys and then got up looking to block some more. How indicative is that? You talked about his play style last week of just who you guys have.
His play style has been growing each and every week, and I think his confidence as well. And so, you see that just the last few weeks. I mean, he's been doing such a tremendous job for us.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. First, Bay wanted me to ask your reaction to you being noisy. Right? I didn't.
Yeah, Babe gave me the hat. I probably was supposed to wear it here, probably, but yeah, tough one for the Broncos.
You appeared pretty frustrated with those 2 non-calls. I haven't seen you outwardly frustrated on the sideline much. How frustrated were you? Was that a tough moment, and how do you kind of move on from that as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, just because they're plays that you kind of build up throughout a game, run a certain look a number of times and try and build into that position where you can try and sneak a receiver out, sneak Noah out. And so, unfortunately, we didn't get the opportunity for the pass or the potential call there, but it is what it is. we still got points, but hopefully it's frustrating because it's 3rd and 1. He certainly could run the ball there. It felt like we had dialed that thing up enough with enough runs to kind of have that opportunity.
Dave. Skyler's from El Paso, by the way. They came out, the very first play, you go play action, you get CD on the stop route or whatever you call it. But anyway, Adoree Jackson went with him the whole game. You obviously anticipated that might happen, but do you ever have to change, I don't want to say game plans, but your thought process once you realize, okay, he's wherever 88 goes, he's getting Jackson?
Yeah, there's always adjustments throughout games. Certainly matchups, CDs, guys are going to travel with him at times. We get that, and that's part of this process. And so certainly went in the game kind of expecting that potentially. And, we felt like CD was, he was going to be fine. And, run game has different adjustments based off the way they look. And so there's always going to be little nuances. Sometimes we've had receiver matchups in the past where maybe someone has a more favorable matchup and you want to try and, put them in more primary positions. And we'll just make those adjustments as we go.
And when that happens, do you try to get them to slot a little bit more? Obviously, it makes it more difficult for the defense.
Yeah, and certainly CD plays all over the field, and so there are opportunities to put him inside because, if they're playing zones, sometimes, Adoree may not go inside, and so you do have opportunities inside there as well.
Todd Archer with ESPN. How much freedom does Cooper have at the line of scrimmage, and has that grown the more he's played in terms of the checks, or is it just a simple, hey, if there's this many guys in the box, we're checking out of this, or whatever it would be?
Yeah, I think we certainly have, plenty of things in the toolbox for those guys. Dak and Coop, they can both handle the necessary volume that it takes, and so run game, you're going to have different adjustment checks. We're going to play the game, in many different ways. So it can be run to run, it can be pass to run, run to pass to pass, obviously, depending on the circumstances. And so a lot of times you have primary plays you want to go with, and then there's, if you get a particular look, go to this particular call. And so, you saw it in the toss play on 3rd and 12, and a couple other times as well.
Is that it's Dak would make the same check? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
There's not Coop doesn't have any less freedom because he's not played as much as Dak has played.
No, we're fortunate. Coop's been around this thing for a while. He can run the show just fine.
Mike McCarthy said earlier that Tyler Smith is getting better each and every week. Cooper Rush, can the same be said about him? And if so, how, why?
Yeah, certainly Tyler's, you see the steps each and every week. I mean, he's just playing really, really good ball. And Coop along the same lines. I think Coop's just, he does a really good job of just playing the game, playing each situation, handling kind of the highs and lows. He does a tremendous job of that throughout the games. And you can just see the confidence. I think anytime you see a QB take his drop, hit his back foot, see it, trust it, let it rip, that's confidence right there. And you're seeing a lot of that in Coop right now.
Now that Noah Brown's had some more opportunities here than he's had really at any other stage, what have you seen from him? One, just how he's responded to that, but two, have you started to see some things with him as a receiver that he just didn't have the opportunity to show before?
It's been so fun to watch. So obviously he was a situational guy for a number of years, and you had to protect that because he was going to come in to block people, and you had to find a couple passes that you can survive with, and try and so you protected those looks. And now it's awesome because he's just one of our starting receivers, and so he goes in there and does the run stuff, and it's not a certain package, and so he's done an awesome job. He plays great in the pass game. He just goes and attacks the football. I think that's one of the coolest things about him. He's running good routes, but he just goes and attacks the football, grabs it. He plays really, really aggressive in the pass game and in the run game, and so it's been fun to see.
A lot of people when they look at Cooper Rush, they think of what they see in the preseason, and people don't understand there's a difference between playing in the preseason with other guys and playing with the starters, and so he looks so comfortable out there. Can you just talk about the difference that is and why Cooper's comfortable with those starters?
Yeah, preseason's always, there's a lot of circumstances to go with that. We're not going to do a whole lot creatively on offense. We're going to be fairly vanilla. You're going to play with a lot of different guys that are in and out of the lineup, and so when you see the whole spectrum, you see training camp, all that sort of stuff. Coop's been around this for a while. He feels very, very comfortable with that, and you see plenty of moments. You guys saw him in Oxnard, and playing joint practices with Denver and the Chargers, and he has plenty of other moments, not just the 40 snaps he plays in a preseason.
What did you make of Peyton Hendershot tonight? Not only as a receiver, but some of what he showed blocking.
Peyton did a really nice job. Obviously, without Dalton, he was going to get a number of reps, and with Jake and him kind of working together in that tight end role. And they did a tremendous job. I thought their play style in the run game was awesome. Awesome to see Peyton go in there and dig people out and kind of grind in the run game. And then he showed what he has in the pass game. He can obviously separate, and he's got the length to get vertical on people. And he had a couple nice plays there.
You mentioned Peter's leadership. Can you cite an example? What is he like in the room? And how do guys just kind of listen to him because he's played 52 years?
Yeah, no, Jason, I think it's just awesome for younger guys just to have another voice right there that, sometimes just having another voice that says it a different way, sometimes it just clicks for people, and Jason's been around it for a long time. And I think sometimes just, we're going to meet with them so many hours as coaches, but then there's all those other conversations that happen in the locker room or right after a play on the sideline while, the other group's going. And so when you have guys like Jason, Zach, these veteran players who can just have all those conversations with these younger guys, they can't get enough of it. And so we're fortunate to have those type of guys.
Does his personality make him more valuable in terms of some guys might be a vault of information, but they won't be so open with it?
Certainly. Yeah, certainly. Jason's one of those guys he's open with everyone. He shares every piece of information he's got, every experience that he's gone through. And I think all of our guys, every single guy in that offensive line room is benefiting from him.
You guys had a goal line run or something with Tony that Zach didn't seem that he appreciated very much and was yelling over to the sideline. You don't know if you remember that. I think it was one of the first half ones.
One of the first half ones?
Yeah.
Which one?
He pulled back and he started yelling over. It was Witten-like.
Witten-like, huh?
When you see a guy like that, you say, okay, tell me what you're seeing, and when you
Yeah.
come off and
Yeah, we just had a couple communication things down there, I think, just with the, it gets loud and then you're making little adjustments at the line of scrimmage. I think we kind of got caught in a couple down there, off to the right there. Yeah.
What kind of groove are you in calling plays the last 2 weeks?
I think anytime you stay in the game you want to play in on first and second down, it allows you to kind of play with that flow. And I think that's what we're all shooting for. And, when you stay in those manageable situations, we convert some third downs. You take first and second down right back into first and second down. That's what you want to do on offense. And so we're really, really close. Got to score a few more points in the red zone. We missed a couple ops this week, but I think we're heading in the right direction.
The mix with Zeke and Tony, that with 15, 13, is that kind of
Yeah, we want both those guys getting touches, and I think the more balanced, the better it is as you go week in and week out. And hey, there may be a game where one guy goes a little bit higher than the other, and that may be situationally, that may just be the way the rotations work. But we love getting both those guys involved.
There was a penalty holding, I think that resulted in a third and long, your first third down of the day. Was that an example of just what you're trying to avoid in terms of penalties?
Yeah.
Translating third down.
I think those things are tough. We got the toss play on 3rd and 12, but there's a penalty on that drive as well. And so, when you have those penalties, you put yourself in 2nd and 12, 2nd and 14. There's only so much you can do. You're trying to chop at it to get to 3rd and manageable. And so, those are the things that are critical, I think, to success on offense.
Back on Zeke and Tony, is it? In the past, it's been you've had a rotation where it'd be like a couple series and one for. Is it really more of a tandem now in how you're approaching it and how you use them and mixing them in and out over the course of the game versus the pattern it was before? I guess.
Yeah, I think both of them and they work really well together and they communicate really well together. I think where you can start a guy in a series knowing the other guy's ready to pop in there, and then certain plays are going to dictate who's in the game. Maybe it's a play specific for Tony, specific for Zeke. And then if, on the occasion when we want them on the field together. And so I think those guys really work together. I think that's the special part about it is, they work together. They know hey, I need a little blow here, get the other guy in. They have no problem when the other guy goes in there and they, acknowledge that to each other. I think that's really special.